For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Former ANC MP and now ADEC leader Dr. Makhosi Khoza joins me to discuss her new political party, African Democratic Change. Welcome, Dr. Khoza. Thank you, Sane, for having me. How would you respond to political analyst Dhlamini who recently said your move was unstrategic?
Well, you know, the reality of the situation is that you can say my move was unstrategic, you can be saying whatever. It depends what is your motive for participation in politics. If my motive for participation in politics is about power and getting a position or getting a ministerial position, then my move was unstrategic. But if my motive for participation in politics is about facilitating sustainable change in South Africa, I do not believe that my move was unstrategic. I still believe it was strategic. Even if it means I don't necessarily fight the elections in 2019, but if I am able to build a good, solid platform where you build young, moral and ethical leaders, to me, that is not an unstrategic move. And given my own motives for participation, I am tired of Africa being the face of diseases, of suffering, of poverty, of civil wars, of killings. I'm coming from KwaZulu-Natal. I am tired of seeing politics being a battlefield for, you know, where people are being killed. Because that, when you have killings like that, like I have in my province, women tend to stand back because they don't want to leave their children, you know, die and leave their children. Who will look after them? So my motive for participation is not motivated by going to parliament. So as far as I'm concerned, it was correct. And I am not going to step back and say, I'm now retracting from my statement. I still believe and I am committed to what I started.
Who's funding your party, and are we likely to see any maybe coalitions in future with like the EFF?
Frankly, let me tell you, the person that is funding my party, and that's a big problem currently. You know, we had pledges that went, our pledges that we received before December, when we went to the founding Congress in December, were more than 85 million. That has been reduced to almost zero because business, they feel that Cyril has to be given an opportunity to rescue the economy. I agree with them. However, on the other hand, we have to be careful about, you know, allowing democracy to be reduced to the consensus of the moneyed. I think it is very important for us to understand that if we wanted to sustain a democracy in South Africa, it should not be about a billionaire politician. It should really be about every citizen, and that citizen being able to change, to be able to participate in the electoral system. At this point in time, for you to be able to get into the IEC voters roll, you need about 600,000. And who can afford that? There are very few people who can do that. So we are distorting the system. Hence, we are fighting for the change of the electoral system. And I also wanted to say to you, I really, really do think that it's important to understand that the person who has been fundraising for me has been having serious challenges with trying to convince business, because business really feel that Cyril should be given a chance. If Cyril does the right thing, do I have a problem with that? No, I don't. If he is prosecuting the people, if he's not going to strike a deal with Zuma, you know, because I suspect that he's not going to send Zuma to jail. As far as I'm concerned, if we wanted to deal with this cancer of corruption, Zuma must replace his designer suit with that orange overall. that prison overall. He must go to jail so that it sends a strong message to everyone that corruption does not pay. If it does that, I would still support Cyril, but not necessarily going and supporting the ANC as such. So I am saying to you, Isaac Shongwe has always been there with me as my fundraiser, but we are going back to the drawing board, given the fact that our financial position is not good.
You've been quoted as saying repeatedly, in Africa, each state fails because of corruption. How are you planning to fight corruption? Exactly
what I've just said to you now. I really, you know, and that's one thing that I find very disturbing with the ANC. The ANC is talking about unity. But what unity? You have a Secretary General that even as early as yesterday we've been reading about him and his scandals and the Guptas and the daughters that got some tenders and what have you. You also have the Deputy President of the African National Congress, who is known in Mpumalanga as one of the most corrupt people in that province. And if we are not going to have these people arrested and going to jail, there is simply no way we are going to be able to avert the situation that we've seen in Africa. Every state failed because of corruption. And if we are going to be having these deals of saying, no, Zuma, go, and we give you a golden handshake, obviously another one will also come and be corrupt and will also put up a fight. And again, the taxpayers will have to be paying this one a golden handshake to say, go now, you've messed up. So we will be in this vicious circle. And I'm saying we need to break this vicious circle. And that's my position. And I'm not changing on that.
Are you able to divulge some of the ANC members, maybe MPs, who've been like telling you to come back to the ANC now that Cyril is
well, I mean, there's been a lot of members that have been asking me to do that. Just last week I was in Parliament. I'm not going to tell you about their names, but I was in Parliament last week, and almost every single member of Parliament of the ANC that I came across, you know, in the corridors of Parliament that I bumped to, were saying, come back now. We are busy sorting this thing out. And I want them to continue doing that. And I congratulate them. I am happy with what Comrade Ranto is doing there, leading that process of the state capture in Parliament. I'm congratulating her. Remember, I joined the ANC because of South Africa. I didn't join South Africa because of the ANC. I think many people, they confuse that. The ANC was only as relevant to me as what it does to South Africa. And that is why I will support them for as long as they are doing something that is great for this country. And because I care about the future of this country, no, I will not go back to the ANC because I really want not a token woman president in South Africa. I want a woman of action, a woman of moral and ethical stamina, high moral and ethical stamina. I want a woman of virtue. I want a woman who is dynamic, a woman who is young. In fact, if in my lifetime, if I could deliver a woman who is around 40 years old or slightly below that as a president of the Republic, I would feel that I have accomplished my mission.
Tell us about the time when you were having difficulties with the ANC. We know that your family was in danger a bit. How was that time?
You know, let me tell you, one of the things that I always tell people about was how hypocritical we become. I mean, I was persecuted. I received death threats. My family went through hell. And today, the very person who was actually part part of the Zuma. Remember that the corruption thing in South Africa, it cannot really be apportioned only to one single individual.
Exactly.
Cyril Ramaphosa has been the deputy of President Jacob Zuma all this time. And during that time, the only thing that President Cyril Ramaphosa said to me was, keep safe. That's all. Here is a widow with 2 children, is being persecuted for standing for the truth. And all you can say, you are a leader, and you know deep down your heart that what she's fighting for is the correct thing. But the only thing you could do is to say, keep safe. To me, I see no courage in such a man. And I honestly do not believe that he has that's the kind of courage that you need to take this country forward. I don't think we will see the deputy president of the ANC being arrested. I don't see Ace Magashule being arrested, the Secretary General. I don't see Zuma going to prison. I simply do not see. I'm sorry. I want him to prove me wrong. I don't see Cyril Ramaphosa having that courage to stand up. The fact that he stood out there in front of all of you South Africans, I'm not inventing these things. He stood up when Zuma took a decision with the Guptas to remove Pravin Gordhan and Mcebisi Jonas as the minister and deputy minister respectively. He came out publicly disowning the decision. Zweli Mkhize came out publicly disowning the decision. Gwede Mantashe came out publicly disowning the decision. What happened after that? They backtracked. Now, can I trust a person who cannot stand for their own principles, who cannot stand for what is right, good and right, for the sake of just becoming a president of the republic? No, I can't. I don't have confidence in Cyril. Business has confidence in him. And I can understand. They also have the same thing. I also don't think that Cyril Ramaphosa will be able to address the major challenge in Africa. That is profit shifting and tax-based erosion. He's a billionaire. He was involved in the Marikanas thing. And why was he involved in the Marikana? Why did he have to say something like that also led? Obviously, he's come out to say sorry. I'm saying 34 lives were gone. Because to him, his life is about bottom line. If a life has to go, it has to go. And that's what we had in this country. And all of a sudden, because it's about the bottom line, he's a billionaire. Now, all of a sudden, must I believe in him? To me, he's just a billionaire. Thanks to him and thanks to the ANC for having made him, connected him. Because the fact that he was connected to the ANC and he was very prominent in the ANC, he was able to get a lot of deals, which is why he's a billionaire. It's not like your Steve Jobs, who had to, for him to become a billionaire, he had to invent something. I don't know anything that Cyril has invented, because even the McDonald's burger that he's a shareholder of, it's a franchise that somebody else invented in America. It's not his idea. Lone Mill Mine, it's not his idea. So I want to build real entrepreneurs. That's my goal. And therefore, I don't think I would be there with him. I'm so sorry, ANC. I still love you because you are my fellow South African. But frankly, I don't think you stand for what I stand for.
And lastly, just talk to our viewers. Why must they join your party?
You know, all I am saying, by the way, one of the things that I'm trying to do, and I want us to perfect this model, and I'm still even trying to persuade even some of my members for us to perfect this model. I am saying, in the absence of the system of the constituency-based system, I want ADEC to operate within in the interim to operate within the proportional representation system, where we have civil society fighting for election under this umbrella of ADEC. In other words, ADEC does not become a political party in the true sense of the word, but civic organizations, individuals that think they have what it takes to stand for an election and they wanted to do changes in South Africa. Because our system requires us to register with the IEC, I want the people like that to be coming forward and say, I wanted to stand for the elections. I'm a chartered accountant. I have ideas about how to change the finance system, the financing model in South Africa. How do we address the fact that we have such low tax base in South Africa? And they say, I want you to run on ADEC, on ADEC platform. I think that's what I would like us to perfect. In other words, I want South Africans to join ADEC because ADEC is about them. You are not going to have gatekeeping, which you have in the ANC. Remember that it's a foregone conclusion in the ANC that if you are already the president of the ANC, you have to be the president of the Republic. I am saying I could be a founder of ADEC, but as Makhosi Khoza, I can only be there as a leader, as a visionary, but somebody else can be a leader, can be a president in the Republic. I don't have to be the president of the Republic. Hence, I am saying to you, especially to the young people, this is their opportunity to make their mark, to be part of something that is going to give them the real voice. We have to deliver a woman president who is not more than 40 years old. Mina, I'm happy to be sitting in the backbenches of parliament and coaching that person and not being in the forefront and being a backbencher. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I've accomplished so much in life. I'm not eyeing any position. All I want to see change in Africa. I am tired of seeing women and children of Africa being synonymous with poverty and pain.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, my love.
That was African Democratic Change leader Dr. Makhosi Khoza speaking to Creamer Media's Polity about her political party, ADEC.